Guessing got a chance to kind of look over some of the film from the first 4 days of practice yesterday, or first 3 days of practice. 4 days of practice yesterday. What was kind of the biggest thing that maybe stood out to you when you were kind of able to see things kind of slow down in that film?
Yeah, I would say overall just a gradual improvement of the things that we harped on. From 3 to 4, I mean, we talked about the wide receiver staying on blocks and how to do it, and it showed up in practice 4. The circuits that we do as far as full team circuits, ball security to how to recover, just do basic things, right? And those things started to show up on the field, and some of them happened to be more veteran players that it was happening to, but it was great film to coach off of. So the energy for the most part has been really consistent. It's something that I care a ton about just because this is an emotional game and you got to practice that way and if you expect to play that way. So for me, that was a big thing. There's going to be constant improvement. There are certain guys taking certain strides faster than others. And there are certain guys that need to continue to learn and grow in the moment and lock into walkthroughs and make sure they don't make the same mistake twice.
Was there one or two players who really did stand out from that film?
Yeah, I would say, in that period, that last practice, 4 was definitely Buddha and Ram and a lot of the D-line just getting after it and creating a pass rush. That was pretty consistent. Versus a really good O-line. I believe this O-line is solid. So to see that ability to get home on third down, because those were third down segments. It wasn't just, 50-50 downs where they're transition pass rushing. The D-line expected pass. And so the ability to see them create that and have energy in doing so, that was great to see. And then some of these young guys, man, just continue to show up. Kyle Peterson's one of those guys that has progressively gotten better and was here in the spring, obviously, to learn the system, but to watch him fly around has been great. And Anthony Plano's been really consistent. Some of the safeties have been really consistent. So overall, I talked to the quarterbacks yesterday. It was a little bit back and forth. Every quarterback has had a session where they looked great. And I felt like day 4, Johnny, outside of maybe 2 plays, looked great. Today, Zevi in that first roll looked really solid. And then when you get to Dougie at the end there, the ability to create when plays are broken, those are also things that we're looking for to see who could take the next step for us as a program. So I think you got to put them in certain situations and you got to see how they respond. That's half of it. And I'm excited about the progression that we're moving in right now.
With that run by Duggar, how much of what he showed on that play is kind of what you made him, or what made you guys want to go pursue him out of the portal?
For us, there was a standing relationship in knowing him through one of our staff members, Ricky Ciccone. That, as well as watching the film of what he had done in the bowl game and being a young player that has a ton of upside. But yes, his ability to continue to create and elongate plays and make something out of nothing, it's always something that you look at the quarterback position.
All the QBs were wearing crimson, regular jerseys toward the end of this practice. What's kind of your philosophy with that? And I guess you're okay with them getting hit sometimes.
They were live today, and they'll be alive a couple more times through camp. I think it's hard to say it's a sack if it's a one-hand touch, and I'm telling the D-line to stay away from the quarterback. We have 4 right now that are competing for a position. In a normal setting, Dougie would have been down. In a real setting, he just scored a touchdown. And I think we need to see that, and we need to see who the best players are.
Coach, with your first day in full pads today, were you impressed with that continued energy and seeing these guys fly around and hit, like, for real for the first time? Were you impressed with that today?
Yeah, we'll watch the film. I'm sure there's some shoulder throwing in there or some, I'm always a big believer in when we go live and you're striking and you go low, you better be wrapping up and rolling on people. So nobody, not expecting, I don't want anybody to get hurt out here, but there's a certain mindset for an O-line when we know we're going live and the quarterback's getting hit that they need to feel prior to game day. And there's a certain emotion that the quarterback knows that he's going to get hit if he holds onto the ball too long. They need to go through that progression. I can't claim who the best players are if they haven't been put in a situation. There's a rep count in which I want to hit in putting them in those situations so we don't risk too many injuries, but everything is done for purpose and with thought in mind of the big picture ahead.
And with Matt and Kale in particular, obviously you've known those guys since they were, 17 years old. They were flying around today, made some nice plays. Just can you talk about their progression as football players and the men they are now and leaders on this team?
Yeah, I think they've been huge in our transition because Kale wasn't even healthy this last spring. He had really the fall either. He tore his pec in the Oklahoma State game. He's played a lot of football. He played as a redshirt freshman and played some as a freshman. And then through that, he's always been a key contributor for us throughout the years. He has just been through so much with us. He's been through the transition of how we've changed our scheme based off of problems or issues that we've kind of tweaked things to make assure that those problems don't show up again. So both Matt and Kale have had the longest ability to digest this entire defense, and they're coming out and they're being great teammates and they're teaching the youth. And I mean, for Kyle Peterson to be where he's at that point because of Kale Reeder this spring. Just the mentorship when they both sat out due to injuries, because Kyle got surgery this past spring on his shoulder, and to see his growth, he doesn't take that without Kale, and I think Kyle knows that.
You mentioned splitting the team up was to get people more reps, but now with everyone back together, is there something that you can see when the whole team is together that you can't see in those split sessions?
Yeah, that's a great point. You don't see always, how do I put this? We got young guys up front, and you may have a veteran quarterback in behind, so the protection may collapse faster because of all the nuances that go up front and picking things up and the communication that needs to be had, as well as, we did a good job. I believe in this wide receiver group. I believe that they all can have a role in this offense and have success, but when you're working with a young group of wide receivers, the sight adjustments off of coverage and the routes may not always be ran to the same level as maybe a veteran player that understands it and will run the route exactly how it was said. And coming together, you allow all the quarterbacks to throw with what would be the top group or the players that have the most experience, and it allows us to get a better eval collectively as a whole of who is taking the right steps forward.
You've mentioned how important it is for guys to know where they're supposed to be, get themselves aligned. After all the work you put in the spring and the summer and now a few practices out here on the field, are you seeing what you want to see out of that in terms of guys knowing where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I think all the work that the guys have put in from spring to summer has paid dividends right now, and the comfort and they feel lining up. And it's just not the veterans that have learned a new system, it is the freshmen that have come in, because there's a good chance that you see a couple freshmen rolling with us.
Your defensive line got a chance to be live today, and what did you see from Ben, especially getting that sack right today?
Yeah, it's great. Ben is, it's the second time that we've said, you had one in the spring game, maybe two in the spring game, so maybe we just need to go live more often for Ben.
For Ben himself, just what makes him kind of a strong player and part of your rotation?
Really humble kid that works hard. He doesn't get caught up in everything, and he's really focused, and he listens, takes notes, digests it, comes out here, works his butt off, never complains. And I think when your focus is right, you have the ability to have success.
For that mentorship from Kale to Kyle, what kind of strengths does Kale bring as a leader, and how did you see that benefit Kyle, and kind of what's that relationship like, the day-to-day mentorship?
When you look at mentorship, you're absorbing, you're looking at how somebody absorbed all the information that they've attained over the years. And for him, he's had early success. He's played. He's gotten beaten games. He's been a part of great teams that have had success and know what it looks like. He's also been hurt and had to watch his teammates. And there's so many things that you can learn through the game of football. And he's on the tail end, and he came here to win. He expects to win, and so the standard is that, and he's being a part of holding it.
Looked like at the end of the Duggar run, the last few yards freed up because of a Leo block, and it seems there's been a few times between Dylan Payne, even Trayvon Pankey, the pass protection and just the overall blocking from the running backs has taken a leap forward. Is that something you guys really tried to emphasize in the offseason?
I think blitz pickup or just protection in general is something that our focus is always on, but I would say downfield blocking is something that is a part of almost every team meeting, because that's a hustle play, it's an effort, it's a decision that I'm running my route and I don't get the ball. am I going to pour me, am I going to be a part of this team and continue to fight for one more yard, because you don't know which play will win you a game. So it's not just the running backs, it's, philosophy-wise, everybody playing together as one.